We've covered quite a few episodes of Roosevelt's life by now. So today, let's talk about something big: Roosevelt's first political campaign. In the year 1920, Roosevelt decided it was time. He stepped down as Assistant Secretary of the Navy and officially announced his candidacy for Vice President of the United States. In this campaign, Roosevelt proudly showcased his record in Panama, how he led military operations almost like farming jungle mobs in a game, clearing out indigenous communities to make way for the Panama Canal. He presented it as a triumph of leadership and strength, and it did help the Democratic Party gather a solid chunk of votes and support. But here's the awkward part. As the saying goes, the same weapon that wins the war can also cost you the war. You see, Roosevelt's base in the Democratic Party's base was the U.S. Navy. But the public sentiment after World War I was overwhelmingly anti-war. Most Americans wanted to return to isolationism, focusing on domestic life and cutting military spending. The Navy was no longer viewed as a national priority. At the same time, America's newly established hegemony in South America hadn't yet brought widespread benefits. Sure, a handful of elites were getting rich off it, but in a capitalist society, there's no such thing as the rich helping the poor get rich too. The average citizens saw no gain. The American people just wanted to live their quiet little lives. So Roosevelt's first campaign ended in defeat. The Republican candidate Warren G. Harding was elected president instead. This loss forced the Democrats and Roosevelt himself to reflect. Where did we go wrong? The answer they landed on was clear. They had lost control of the media narrative. If they could dominate public opinion, they might have won. And if the key was controlling the narrative, then the solution was just as clear. Relationships, influence, connections. Enter William Randolph Hearst, a major Democratic media mogul. He owned dozens of newspapers, including the San Francisco Examiner, and was considered one of the most powerful media barons of the time. As luck would have it, he was an old schoolmate of Roosevelt's, and also a fellow Democrat. Shared backgrounds, it didn't take long for Roosevelt to pay him a visit. They sat down, had a nice little chat: school buddies, party allies, elite bloodlines. By the end of the meeting, Hearst was basically like, "Roosevelt, you're like the brother I never had. Of course he'll help you," and help he did. After Harding became president, scandals started flooding the headlines before the man even had time to warm up his chair in the Oval Office. Democratic minus aligned media outlets unleashed a storm of half-minus true and half-minus invented stories. They accused Harding of cronyism, stuffing key government positions with old allies from what they dubbed the Ohio Gang. Then came reports of bribery, corruption, and misused oil fields. It didn't stop there. News broke about a foreign property office chief convicted of bribery, a Justice Department assistant allegedly involved in illegal liquor trafficking and destroying documents, before mysteriously committing suicide. The Veterans Bureau director was accused of embezzling funds and profiting off shady medical contracts. There were even whispers of underground drug operations. It was chaos. The Harding administration was stunned. Where was all this coming from? Suddenly, they were overwhelmed on two fronts. Internationally, the ripple effects of the Soviet October Revolution had reached American shores. And domestically, the press was relentless. Harding, being staunchly anti-communist, immediately cracked down on leftist ideologies, but the pressure was enormous. The man barely got any sleep during his presidency. And the result? He dropped dead in office. No exaggeration, sudden death. Some speculated suicide. Officially, it was ruled a heart attack. But suspicions lingered. Now the U.S. government was in a delicate situation. Foreign threats, internal instability, and now no president. The Democrats smelled opportunity. Their first instinct, bring Roosevelt back. But where was Roosevelt? He was vacationing in Canada, living his best life, swimming, relaxing, completely unaware his biggest political rival had just dropped dead. But no one saw what came next. Just as Roosevelt's career was poised to skyrocket, he was struck by polio. Yes, polio. The disease left him paralyzed from the waist down. His political allies were devastated. Of all the moments for this to happen, why not? Back then, most Americans believed no one would elect a disabled person to public office, let alone president. The Democrats acted fast. They ordered a total media blackout on Roosevelt's condition. Every outlet was told not a word. They commissioned a specially designed metal leg brace to help Roosevelt stand. In public, he would never appear in a wheelchair. Instead, he'd be supported by aides or his son, gripping a cane that allowed him to drag his legs and walk a few steps. In truth, he was using upper body strength alone to move himself forward. His determination was legendary. And Roosevelt played the part so well that most Americans had no idea he was disabled. While Roosevelt was secretly fighting polio, Let's shift our view back to Washington. After Harding's sudden death, Calvin Coolidge became president. If Harding died from overwork, Coolidge died from doing nothing. He wasn't lazy, just cautious. After witnessing what happened to Harding, Coolidge avoided everything controversial. He wouldn't cut military budgets. He wouldn't tax the rich. In fact, he barely did anything at all. And the wealthy, they lived it up. It was an age of indulgence and decadence. Historians later dubbed this era the Coolidge prosperity. But every dream must end. The reason? Coolidge's policies heavily favored industry while hurting agriculture. Over time, these unbalanced policies crippled the economy. And what happened next? That, my friends, is a story for another episode in Mr. History. If you enjoyed this one, don't forget to hit follow, so you'll be the first to see the next update when it drops. Thanks for watching. Until see you in the next episode. Take care, everyone. Bye.